Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this PoE2 video, I want to talk to you about the warrior class. I want to talk to you about a combination that I find pretty fun, pretty awesome. If you're playing warrior, you've probably already seen this combo, but if you're not playing warrior, maybe this will spark some interest there and give you an idea for your future warrior journey. Let's go ahead and talk PoE2 warrior. Went ahead and jumped to the game here, and we're actually going to show you kind of two versions of the combo here. I want to show you a version that you can get pretty early on in your journey, and then one that will come later into Act 2 and Act 3. And again, it's all based off of where these skills unlocks. The very first combination early on that you can do with Warrior is going to be for 3 different abilities. It's going to be using your Infernal Cry and combining that with Bone Shatter, and then kind of not really part of the combo, but something I like to do is drop my Earthquake after I've done that. So basically the way it's going to work is you're going to go in there, you're going to use your Infernal Cry to destabilize the enemies so that when they die, they will combust. But you want to make sure that you have enough stun buildup, which allows you to actually perform a heavy stun, which is Bone Shatter in this case, which will also release a shockwave when you do stun them. So you're going to be hopefully killing them with this Bone Shatter, so you're going to be hitting with that shockwave, and then if they're not dead by that point, then you can finish them off with just that killing blow from another ability, whether it be Earthquake, whatever, and then that'll proc that combustion explosion from Infernal Cry. So here's what it looks like. Like I said, you can drop your Earthquake, you want to go ahead and do your Shout, and then you can use whatever ability you want. I mean, even if it is just a basic attack, especially early on, and then you're going to blow them all up with that Bone Shatter Shockwave, which when they die will also consume that explosion like we just saw right there. I know that was only one mob, but this really is great for big packs and everything. So that's kind of the early on combo, and the reason we had Earthquake in there is just kind of because it's a passive thing that will blow up after a set amount of time. It does take a little bit, but it's nice when it does go off, whether it be to finish off a monster, just help get a little bit of that stun buildup going. We're going to go ahead and take this combination one step further, and I think it was about Act 2 is when I unlocked these abilities, but we were using Volcanic Fissure, Earth Shatter, and Leap Slam. So here's just what it looks like. So the first ability here is Volcanic Fissure. It literally does a little line of fire, and you can crisscross these things. And as long as they're touching, they will actually chain when you hit them with a heavy slam. You can see how it's shooting out even more fire. But on top of that, these earth spikes right here, when we use our Infernal Cry, will blow up those spikes for a whole nother layer of damage. So here's what it looks like when we're actually going to be out in the field. I usually just throw down a little bit of fissures, earth spike about 3 or 4 times, and then I will actually leap in, do my Infernal Cry, and then by that point, they should have enough stun build up that we can use that Bone Shatter to blow them up, and then that you can see how that is feeding into the very first combo that I taught you in this video. And then I also have Earthquake there. I'll drop a couple, I think you can have 2 Earthquakes out at a time, and then I'll come back out, kite around if I need to heal up, and then rinse and repeat that combo. I absolutely love this combo on the warrior. Now, mine's a little bit weaker here because I went into the Warbringer tree and I'm going for the Ancestral Spirits here. If you saw our Warrior Ascendancy video, I talked about this a little bit, and we finally actually have them here in use. And so I've respec'd a lot of my tree to pick up a bunch of the totem nodes. As an added bonus, I'll go ahead and show you what these totems look like here. So this is your Earth Totem, whatever it is, and what it does. I think it's actually called Earth Shatter Totem. But I have it so I can have 3 of them out. They also summon these ancestral spirits. And then while they're kind of doing their thing, I'll sit back and do my combination that we just talked about. It's pretty cool, and it's pretty effective in boss fights as well. Especially since a lot of the boss fights you're actually having to kind of kite quite a bit. So it kind of gives you a little bit more time to get those hits in there. Here's a nice little pack. Let's go ahead and drop our totems. Get our fissures going. And they usually die pretty quick, I think, as well, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Usually they die before I can actually totally execute the entire combo, which is not a bad thing if you're asking me. We'll go ahead and do one more pack, and we actually pulled an elite in this one here. So we got our totems out. I always got to roll back. We don't want to die here while we're trying to do this. And you always want to get that leap, that shout, and hopefully they're ready to be Bone Shattered, which that one was not quite yet, but it died anyway. Go ahead and show you here on this elite. I guess I kind of whittled it down a little bit here, but there's your totems, your fissures, your earth shatters. You're going to leap in there, shout, and then hopefully get a Bone Shatter, and it died again pretty quickly. So there you go. So that's kind of the combination here. I wanted to go ahead and just point out the support gems that I'm using for these skills as well. So let's go ahead, and our very first step in the combo here is Volcanic Fissure. I'm currently using Ignition, which will give it more chance to ignite. I'm not sure if it really even works that well, but I'm using it. And we also have more fire damage, but you deal less cold and lightning with Fire Infusion. And then we also have Persistence, which is going to give the effect more duration. And you definitely want this because that fissure you're basically just putting out is like an extra layer of damage while you're doing your slams and everything on there. So the longer it's out, the less you have to recast it, which is really, really nice. Now we have Earth Shatter on here. I have more area damage, but less actual area of effect. We have more physical damage, but it does not deal chaos or elemental. And then we also went over here with more area of effect. And basically the reason I went for that is if you look over here on concentrated effect, you can see support skills have 50% less area of effect, but we mitigate that for the most part by giving us 40% more. So we still have a total of 10% less area of effect, but for 40% more damage, I'll take it. The other ability we have here is Leap Slam. And on here, I have Fist of War. This one's probably not the best support gem, but this is going to every 6 seconds boost the ability. And you can actually factor that into some builds in some pretty fun ways. But I also have Stopping Ground, which is going to trigger a shockwave when you use the gem. Again, not massive. I'm really using Leap Slam for mobility, and I mean, it does do quite a bit of damage. Maybe we can do a full-on leap build one of these days. The other abilities we had here in the combo was Infernal Warcry, and I like the Warcries because these have more niche support gems that you can put into them, which is really nice. We get more area of effect here with Corrupting Cry, and then you can also inflict them with Corrupted Blood. It's decent. I just kind of have it on there just because it's not really that important for the combo or the build or whatever. And then we can also go with this one here where the skills, because remember the Warcry is also empowering your attacks to get a fire damage bonus there as well. And this is actually going to give that empowered attack 15% more damage. Now, if you can find a way to get a lot of endurance charges, you can really ramp this up even more. The way I have it set up currently is I only have one endurance charge, so it's only one empowered attack per shout. But again, build is still very much early on in the works. I just wanted to share this combo and stuff with you here and just talk about the warrior. We also use Bone Shatter. This one I've invested a little bit more into. I really like Bone Shatter. I've been using it since really early on in the game. So basically what this is going to do, Impact Shockwave, it's going to give an aftershock when you heavy stun, which obviously we're using it to heavy stun, makes sense. If we go over here to execute, it's going to do 40% more damage to enemies that are on low life, under 35% health. And this is one of our finishing abilities, so you definitely want that. And then we also grabbed Devastate here. Supported skills fully break armor when you stun. So you're 100%, you're fully breaking armor right here. Now there's another ability that you can use, and maybe it's a support gem, but you can use it to consume the broken armor to guarantee a critical hit. So I'm probably going to work that into here somewhere as well. We also have Earthquake. Earthquake's not like, this is kind of like if I need another button to press or if I'm safe in there. Because oftentimes you're going to leap in, you're going to shout, you're going to Bone Shatter, and then you need to get out of there. Otherwise, they're going to be just sitting there smacking you in the face. But if you have time and you're safe, you can drop an Earthquake or two. But we have Rage on there that's going to give you Rage on melee hit, which is really nice. I have this unique helmet here that every stack of Rage also gives you increased armor. And Rage maxes out at 30 stacks, and I pretty much always have 30 Rage. It's really nice. You can also get this, like if you have an ability that you're using more frequently, this would probably be better on there. But we also have Fast Forward that's going to have less effect duration, and I tested this. 30% is not a lot, but what this does is it makes that, remember the Earthquake, it takes a few seconds before it actually blows up. This actually makes it blow up a little bit quicker. It's not a lot faster, but it helps a little bit. That's the warrior combination that I've been kind of running around with. I've recently started working totems in there a little bit more. I'm kind of trying to do the heavy totem minion build, but I have a feeling that's not going to scale as high as I really want it to, and that I'm going to have to resort back to kind of this combo setup that we talked about here in the video. I know this video wasn't a super in-depth like build guide or anything like that, but I'm not really at a point that I'm ready to make a full-on build guide, but I do want to talk about the things that I've been playing and what I find fun in PoE2, and maybe it'll spark a build idea of your own. And that's going to wrap it up for this Path of Exile 2 video. Hopefully you found this video useful and or entertaining. If so, don't forget that like button and subscribe to the channel if you think I've earned it. Please consider becoming a YouTube channel member today. Unlock some pretty fun perks such as behind the scenes, bloopers that I find while editing videos, as well as early access to videos when I release a whole big batch. It also helps out the family a lot, but don't forget your view alone means the absolute world. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.